everybody. Welcome to Tuesday night, and this is our second session, life coaching session, and this is a new facet of the ministry for me. I've been through an awful lot. Those of you that have followed me on Facebook, you know that I've faced incurable cancer, multiple myeloma, and that was quite a war. I detailed all of that so that you all could see it and travel that journey with me, because many of you can relate to that. And decided that I wanted to do something a little different regarding helping folks and ministering to people, because I had a lot of people that I was counseling with, talking with, encouraging just one-on-one on the phone, and it really resonated with me. Something just surfaced inside of me that felt very fulfilled doing that. So I went to study life coaching, and I got certified as a life coach, and I found out that there's lots of different life coaches, and many different styles, many different approaches, many different niches in life coaching. And what I would like to do for you is take a few questions, and I pulled out some questions that you have sent me. And life coaching is a little different in that you need the person to talk to find out what's inside of them to be able to help them along, because the advice that is best for the person comes from inside the person. There's a saying in life coaching. It says, you are the expert on your own life. Nobody is a better expert on you than you. Now, let me preface it by saying this. Life coaching is not psychiatry, and it's not just giving advice, counsel. It's different than that. And I like to put it this way. Psychiatry heals the past. Advice corrects the present. Life coaching creates the future. So what I want to do is help you to create a new future. Take the circumstances that you're in, find some sort of goal to attain to, and let's move towards that goal. Now, this is best done by you and I getting on the phone, having sessions together, but I want to do this right now free of charge so anybody can see it, because there's some of you that you don't know what it is, you don't know anything about life coaching. Some life coaches help you lose weight, some help you make more money. There's all sorts of stuff, and life coaching does encompass all of that. It does. But mostly what it does is finds out what's inside of you that you really want, what your personal goal is. And that goal may not have anything to do with losing weight or making more money. It may have to do with something very personal, something to do with a family member, something to do with something that you want to accomplish on your own that means the most to you. So I will attempt to take some of these questions. I have 3 of them, and to answer them in more of a life coaching sort of a manner. Because there's not all this personal information in here. So some of these things I'm going to have to assume because I don't have the person to interact with, but they did send in a question, so they are concerned. And if that person's listening, maybe we can hook up, and let me coach you through something. The way I work is this: I break down the initial life coaching process into 3 categories. Make it really simple. First session is I help you find out what your goal is, because sometimes you think you have a goal, but it's really someone else's goal for you, and it may not be what you really want. It's what you've been told that you should want. So we have to figure out what do you really want to do. What means the most to you right now. And then once we find out in that first session really what that goal is and hone in on that, then the next session we'll talk about what are the different blocks that prevent you from getting to your goal, the different obstructions, the things that hinder you from getting from here to there. And the third session, talk about a strategy on how to attain your goal. What can you do moving forward to obtain that goal? And these answers are ultimately going to come from inside of you. It's up to me to find out the right questions to pull out of you what God has already programmed inside of you. Now, I have, a certain niche that I probably can advise in, and as opposed to just a regular life coach who doesn't try to give any advice. You try to keep your opinion out of it. My niche has to do with people that are going through fatal diseases, like cancer, leukemia, helping to prepare them for what they have to do, and to help talk them through it, and to help them understand some things that they're going to be facing, and things that they don't have to be afraid of or don't have to be worried about, because most of it is what you think is going to happen and not what actually happens. And I can help walk you through that. And another thing that I would have personal knowledge of, anything to do with the ministry, because I've been in and around it my whole life. So if it's music ministry, if it's ministry at church, if it's just staying in the ministry, I know something about that, so I could probably advise you on that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 3 questions. A couple of these are a little bit more, ministry oriented, a little bit more, Bible type answers. And I would encourage you to get your friends to like the page so that they can see this, because there's somebody out there that's watching who is going through something, and maybe this will help them. Doesn't cost them anything. All these posts, on Facebook are free. If they want, personal life coaching sessions, they can go to the link on carmanlifecoaching.com, and that's live, ready to go. We'll set up a time for you. But for right now, let's go in. We do 3 questions every Tuesday. So here's our next 3 questions, okay? First one from Patty Stepper. Okay, Patty. She says, this is once again so amazing. You are reaching out to minister to people and show God's love and mercy. Thank you. My goal, as it has been for many, many years, is to not feel or get physically burnt out in ministry. Oh, yes. I know exactly what that feels like. Okay. Working as much as 50 hours or more in the medical field a week and then fully involved with church can drain you, as I'm sure you have more than experienced. Amen. I'm trying to learn to say no to some things without feeling guilty. Love and prayers. So her goal, or Patty, your goal is how do you recapture your passion for ministry and not get burnt out, and learn how to say no. Well, it's a lot easier said than done. Well, okay, here's a question that I'd probably ask you. I would ask you, what does your gut feeling tell you should do? What does your gut tell you? What's inside you saying you should do? Not that you're able to do it, but what does your inner knower say? Okay, this is probably what I should be doing. Now, that would be just the first question. Of course, I'd find out more as we continue to talk. But let's just imagine that first question is, I need to curb my time doing this so I have more time for this. Let me make a statement here. You don't get burnt out in ministry. Your spirit doesn't burn out. Your spirit lasts longer than your body. Your spirit is eternal. Your body burns out. Your spirit doesn't burn out. So ministry doesn't burn out. What happens is our ability to focus on ministry gets tired and it gets weary, because we see a need and we go to fulfill that need simply because it's there. That's not a good enough reason. When we have a calling, We're specifically called to do a particular thing. We're not called just to be every facet of Christianity to everybody at all times, no matter what. Listen, the greatest fighters in the world. Think of some of the greatest fighters you've ever seen. Think of Mike Tyson, think of Evander Holyfield, think of Floyd Mayweather, think of anybody that's out there. They fight for 3 minutes and they sit on a stool for 1. They fight for 3 minutes, they sit on a stool for 1. The greatest fighters on the planet that have ever lived, from Muhammad Ali all the way up, have all only fought in the ring 75% of the time. 25% of the time, they rest. They have to recoup. When a weightlifter wants to build muscle, he doesn't build muscle when he's lifting weights. That's when he tears down the muscle. When you're working, you're tearing yourself down. The muscle gets big and rebuilt when he has time off. It's in his rest time that the muscle is rebuilt. So in your time of rest is when you grow stronger, not in your time of doing. Doing is when you're expending energy and when you're giving out energy. When you're resting is when you're recouping and getting stronger and your muscles are rebuilding. If you want to be a great warrior, that is. But if you want to just satisfy the immediate needs of who's around you and forget the big picture and not look at it from God's perspective, then just continue to work and work and work until you just fall over and you can't do it anymore. That's not going to help anybody. So I would say to Steph, although let me get it, or Patty, she was Patty Stepper. I bet they call her Steph anyway. I understand what you're going through. I've been through it myself. I've wore myself out so much, I had to literally sit in a doctor's office and be diagnosed with something called compassion fatigue, which means you're putting out, and you're not taking enough in. And you force yourself to take time off so that you can recoup. That is the number one thing. You know, Jesus says, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So when you have a yoke that is not easy and a burden that is heavy, and you're carrying this life that's not easy and this burden that is heavy, guess what? Jesus didn't give it to you. Because he says, I don't know what yoke you got. I don't know where you got it from. I don't know who gave it to you or why you took it, but it's not my yoke. Because my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. So what I would want to do with Patty is, if we were in a session together, one of the things I want to ask her is, give me a list of all the things that you do. Give me a list of all the things that you feel like you're supposed to do and why you're supposed to do them. And then together we could start deleting certain things and kind of clearing the air so that you can do other things well. And that passion for ministry will return because it's never gone anywhere. Your body has broken down. Your ability to focus has broken down. You're in the medical field. You're a servant. You're a natural born servant. People, believe me, I spent enough time in hospitals to know. These nurses, they are every bit as much in ministry as any preacher that's out there. Matter of fact, more so, because these nurses will stay with you for 8 hours. The preacher will just hang with you for maybe about an hour and then he's gone to lunch, right? But nurses, they stay with you the whole time and will do anything that has to be done to help you feel better. The idea of ministry in the medical field is a very common one, because if you are involved in the medical field and you're involved in ministry, it's both the same thing. It's both pulling from you. Without downtime, without time to replenish, your muscles will never grow. They'll always just be getting torn down. Remember, a weightlifter lifts weights, and as he's lifting, he's not getting stronger. He's tearing his muscles apart. The muscles are being torn down. It's when he stops. And the days off is when they replenish, and that's when they get bigger because they have to fill in where the areas where they've been torn. So I would love to spend some time with you because I think I can really help you on this one because I've lived through it many times. Many times. Okay. Next one. Let's see. Is there a name? No, there's not a name. Okay. This one. All right, everybody, listen up. How do I break this cycle of losing jobs? All right. Can I hear an amen from somebody? I have changed a lot. I have a strong skill set and get along with everyone, respectful with what I am told. I have made drastic changes to overcome this, but yet I am the first one to be let go wherever I go. Even been told we are out of work, but they will be working everyone but me. That's a mess. Been praying for answers and for God to direct my steps, really tired of the cycle and feel like I am losing hope. I could totally understand that. I would feel the same way. I really feel like throwing in the towel and stop trying, but I can't. I have a wife and kids who depend on me. Family is like, prevents you from having the luxury of quitting. I have made mistakes in my life, but don't see where my family should suffer for my mistakes. I am trying and will continue to try in hopes that God will open up the right doors and show me what I am. Well, now they're not presenting, in life coaching, you want to find a goal. You want to find something to shoot for. And they're not presenting any specific goal to shoot for. But if I was working with this person, I would say, okay, let's find a goal of understanding why you're being fired or why you're being let go. Because if you have the skills and if you have the passion and if you have the willingness to work, then there's something else that is short-circuiting this process that you don't know about. And you might have to go ask some questions to some folks around you. I would ask you this: if you knew that you could not fail at something, what would you want to do? If you knew you couldn't fail, if you knew whatever you set your hands to, that's the one thing you'd succeed. The old genie in the bottle that comes up and says, you got one wish. What do you want to do that you know you're never going to fail at? And I would want to ask you what that is. Because whatever that is a key to whatever your specific skill set is. Now, in order to find out what's happening with this job situation, look, I've been an employer for, since I was 25. I've employed people. At one time when we were touring, I had 60 people on the road, so I get it. And there's always something that you're not thinking about that gets you fired, that you'd say, well, I could have fixed that if somebody would have told me. So what we might want to do, what I'd want to do, is if there's somebody that you worked with before, that you worked alongside of, or somebody that was your employer, what would it hurt to get them on the phone and ask them, what did I do? What did I do wrong? Because believe me, this has happened to me. I was working with agencies one time, and there was one time where the agents, all of a sudden, they were working and everything was going good, and then I called in one day and nobody would talk to me. They would not pass the phone over to somebody I was just having lunch with the day before. And this happened a couple times, several times. What I didn't know until like 12 years later was, some agreement that I had with somebody for a concert that they had somebody working in their organizations that they wanted me to work with, but they never told me. I didn't know. So I didn't know I had broken any rules. And they wouldn't tell me. They just thought I was betraying them. And sometimes it does happen that way, where you're getting penalized for something you don't know what it is, but to the person who's penalizing you is very valid. So you're gonna have to find out what it is that these people are seeing that's short-circuiting your jobs, because it's not your skill set. It's not your ability to work. It's not that you're lazy. It's not that you don't have a passion to provide for your family. So it's some other thing. And you have to find out what that some other thing is. And I promise you, whatever you find out, you're gonna go like, what? No, that's it? That's all that it was? And you can fix it. I would like to, it might be more than that, because it might be something that they tell you that you don't know how to fix. So I may have to get in there and break it down with you, because I know what it's like to hire, I know what it's like to fire people, I know what it's like to be let go and not know why. That's happened to me too many times. I've been cut loose from different things and not know why, because somebody believed something somebody said. That happens a lot. For me, you have no clue. It happens like all the time. Somebody gets mad at me, or they have an attitude towards me because someone told them something about me that is like, and from a very confidential source, who they can never name. I mean, you just gotta weed through all that and figure that out. And I would love to be able to help you. Okay, got one more. This is a little bit more of a this may have a little bit more of a biblical type of an answer. I'm going to try to make it practical, but I don't know if I can. Anyway, from some lady named Linda. She says, okay, so God gives a woman her Boaz. Boaz knows it. He's seen her several times and even talked to her. Boaz decided to reject her. No thanks, God. Walks away from her and the ministry that was intended for both of them. Boaz has his own ministry. The woman blames herself for this, even though she received whom God had for her. What do you tell her? Well, it's pretty simple. And it's so simple, it's going to hurt. The Bible says, he that finds a wife finds a good thing. It never says she that finds a husband finds a good thing. So this woman has put herself in the man's role of finding the spouse, and then blaming God because the spouse, after she has taken on the masculine role, this man has not adopted a feminine role and succumbed and gone over to her side of thinking. It's all backwards. I'm sorry, Linda, whoever you might be, you got to get rid of that. That's not the way it works. That's not the way life works. And it's certainly not the way men work. A man doesn't want to be treated like a woman. A man doesn't want to be, a man's a natural achiever, a hunter. The Bible says a woman is to be a helpmate for a man. Well, guy's got to be doing something to be helped with. That means he's an aggressor. He is the guy that goes out and does something, and a woman can help a man if he's doing something. He's got to be the initiator. He initiates everything. A man can provide ingredients, but he doesn't have the recipe. A man can provide the ingredients of a house, a sofa, furniture, lawnmower, fence. A woman puts those ingredients together and creates a home. Man doesn't know how to do that. Women know how to do that. They're instinctive. So men are good at ingredients. Women are great with the recipe. Like, how'd you do that? How'd you get all that out of that? Well, that's kind of the natural course of event. But when you take a man out of the role of being an aggressor and put him in a feminine role, he's going to reject it. Because now you're treating him more like a son. No son wants to sleep with his mother. Did I say that? I did. No son wants to sleep with his mom. And if you're treating him like you're the aggressor, and he's not paying attention or going along with the program, that's what your mother does to you. Do this, do that, sit over there. I'm gonna take you by the ear and take you over there. That's what mothers do to kids. They tell them what to do because they're raising that child. But it doesn't work with men. You know, you can't do that with a guy. And a guy knows when he's being treated like a son. He'll never look at you as anything other than a mother figure. So, you didn't find your Boaz. Boaz has to find you. And he has to choose you. And he has to pursue you. Because if he's not pursuing you, he ain't Boaz. He's lame ass. You hear what I'm saying? So that one you're going to have to back off of. And it's kind of a common one though. I mean, it's hard to get too worked up about it because sometimes you know what you want, you know what you're looking for, you know what you prepared yourself for. You see somebody that at least you think fits that mold and you set your sights on them, and for some reason they never respond. Well, the reason they don't respond is because they're being treated in the feminine, and no man wants to be treated in the feminine role. I'm sorry you lost your Boaz. Whoever that Boaz is, I just got him off the hook. Okay, I don't even need to talk to you about this. We don't need to have a session. We don't need to break that one down. That's pretty basic. That's pretty simple. And come back next Tuesday and we'll have some more for you. 3 more questions. Tell your friends, some people, to just click on this or like the page. And this will be fun. Every Tuesday night we'll be doing this. And those of you that would like to have sessions, you can click on the link right below. And remember, the expert on your life is you. Nobody knows more about you than you do. Hopefully we'll get the chance to talk. Bye-bye.